If anybody tells you that standardized tests like the SAT, ACTs don't matter, they're lying to you. And let's get into this one. Welcome to the Service Academy Information Channel, where we cover all things about service academies, how to get a nomination, how to get an appointment, and sometimes Service Academy news. And I'm going to go over an article that one of the followers of this channel sent to me from the Wall Street Journal, and I think it was the digital edition. But we're going to get into this. We're going to go through this and look at some of the graphics, and I'll put a link to the article down below, and hopefully you can find it and you can read it for yourself. So let's get right into this one. The article is from the Wall Street Journal. It says 5 things to know about college reinstating the SATs. Now they just talk about the SATs on here, but I'm sure it applies to the ACTs. So what happened is that after the pandemic and during the pandemic, a lot of colleges across the United States eliminated the need for the SAT, ACTs, the standardized testing. Whatever reason it was, they said it was important. They said it really wasn't a true indicator of somebody's ability of doing well in college. I don't really think that that was the reason. I think there was other reasons behind it, but they just got away from it. So what this article says is that 90% of the colleges don't require the SAT or the ACTs, according to an organization called Fair Test. He goes that even though most of the schools don't require them, the admissions officers use the submitted scores to assess candidates, and the number of people taking the SATs has risen over the years. Why do they look at the SATs if they don't require them? Well, the next part of this article discusses that. Fewer than 40% of test takers met benchmarks, which are supposed to predict whether someone has a 75% chance of getting at least a C in first semester in college level math, writing, or history. At least a C. Now, this obviously applies to regular, quote-unquote, normal, quote-unquote, civilian colleges. But if you think that low SAT scores are not a predictive of how you're going to do in college, and especially Service Academy, I mean, it says it right here, a 75% chance of getting at least a C in math, writing, or history classes. So it says even though high school grades have risen, and you can see a lot of times here when I do resume reviews, people have a weighted GPA of 4.9, 5.0, 100.6, and their regular GPA is 3.3. This graph, and I'll put the graph up here, shows the GPAs are going up and up and up because, of course, every school district, all the children are the greatest and all the teachers are the greatest. But in reality, the amount of students meeting the benchmarks have gone down. And there's a bar chart right here, put it up, that shows that. So what does this mean to you? Just to be clear here, these are not second tier or third tier state schools or little dinky community colleges across the country that are talking about this. These are big schools. This is Yale, recently announced that it will require SAT, ACT, after several years of a flexible policy. MIT and Dartmouth also reinstated their need to have an SAT. And also the University of California. The professors at the University of California, one of the biggest state college systems in the country, if not the biggest, the professors are asking that they have SAT, ACT scores because the kids coming in cannot do the basic work. So how does this apply to you going to a service academy? Well, I think you know that you do have to take the SAT. I think you know that you have to do well on the SAT. But I don't want you to think in the back of your mind that the SAT isn't important. And people will always tell you that the SAT doesn't mean anything. It really is not a benchmark of your learning ability, your test-taking ability, whatever. They're lying to you. I'm going to put the link down below in the box to this article. Hopefully you can pull it up. And hopefully that you'll think about this. And even as you're applying to a service academy and you know you need an SAT, think about the best that you can do. And I always say, super scoring is your friend. Take the SAT as many times as you can. Use all the free study materials. And if you can afford a tutor, get a tutor. because doing well on the SAT is the first step to getting into a service academy. I hope you get what you want, and bye now.